Hello, this is checkpoint 4.18. They want us to verify that this function is a solution to the partial differential equation, the heat equation, u sub t equals 9 times uxx plus uyy. What we'll do is we'll essentially take those derivatives and then put it into the equation to see if they'll be equal to each other, and then that would show that those are going to be equal. That show that this in fact will be a solution. Let's figure out what u sub t is for starters, and we have a 2 sine x over 3 times sine y over 4 times the derivative of, so this is constant with respect to t, and then we just need to take the derivative of this term, e, or this factor, e to the negative 25t over 16. And the derivative of that with respect to t is that this is just negative 25 over 16. Okay, not much to simplify. We can take an extra step and just say this is negative 25 over 8. But we'll work that out later. Okay, next is we need to get uxx. So we need to take the derivative of that function with respect to x first, and then we'll take the derivative with respect to x again. So the x term is the first factor, the sine x over 3. The derivative of sine is positive cosine. So we have a 2. We'll put a 2 here, and then we'll leave a space because the derivative of this will have a chain rule. Cosine of x over 3 times the derivative of x over 3, which is just going to be 1/3. So we'll put a 1/3 out in front. Everything else is constant, so we just repeat everything else. Sine y over 4 e to the negative 25t over 16. So that's a derivative with respect to x. And then we'll take the derivative of the same thing with respect to x again. So that's uxx. So now we're focused on this equation, or this expression, and taking the derivative with respect to x again. All right, that's going to give us a negative for the cosine. So it's negative sine of x over 3, and now we take the derivative of this with respect to x again, so that's going to be another 1/3, so that'll give us a 1/9 and 2. So let's just put 2/9 here as our constant. Meanwhile, everything else stays the same, so let's just write everything else down as it was before. All right, we have our uxx. Now let's get uyy. First we need to get u sub y going, and we're going to essentially do the same thing, except we're taking the derivative of the sine y over 4 factor. So we'll have a 2, oops, this is just sine, so 2 times the sine of x over 3, and now let's leave a space here to take the derivative of the sine y over 4, and that'll give us an extra 1/4. And the derivative of sine is cosine. And then we have the constant with respect to y, negative 25t over 16. Okay, and now we'll focus on this to take the derivative with respect to y again. And this is u sub yy, and again the derivative is just going to be focusing on the cosine, and that's going to give us a negative sine and an extra 1/4, so that would be 1/16, and if you multiply that with a 2, that'll give us a 1/8, so negative 1/8 sine x over 3 cosine, oops, the derivative of this is sine again, sine y over 4, and then e to the negative 25t over 16. Okay, so that's what we have. Now, to plug it into the equation, this is going to be on the left-hand side, and then we need to add this and this, and then multiply it by 9. And so let's do this comparison here. Let's say 9 times u xx plus u yy, which is what we want, and we're adding uxx, that's negative 2/9 sine x over 3 sine y over 4 e to the negative 25t over 16. Looks like we're going to need some space here, and I forgot to multiply it by 9, so let's see if we can squeeze that in here. And then we'll do a plus, and I'll have to write it below to make it fit. We have negative 1/8 sine x over 3 sine y over 4 e to the negative 25t over 16. Okay, so it looks like we have the same terms, except we have to add some constants here. So let's just focus on adding these two constants, and let's do this off to the side somewhere, if there is a side somewhere that we can do this on. And that would be a 2/9. Let's see, is this going to fit? Negative 2/9 minus 1/8. So the common denominator is 72. So 8 times 2 is 16, negative 16 over 72, and 9, 72. So that would give us negative 25 over 72. Okay? So then now we have this thing to equal to 9 times negative 25 over 72 sine x over 3 sine y over 4 e to the negative 25t over 16. Okay, this is getting closer. We have the 72s cancel, and that leaves us with an 8 in the denominator and a negative. So let's just write that one more time. This is negative 25 over 8, and we have a sine x over 3 sine y over 4 e to the negative 25t over 16. And now let's compare that. We didn't simplify this, but we probably should have. But it looks like we would have canceled this and gotten an 8. So we get negative 25 over 8. And everything else, sine x over 3, sine y over 4, and e to the negative 25t over 16, tells us that this is essentially u sub t. So we get negative 9xx plus yy is equal to u sub t, which is the differential equation. Okay, I hope that helps.